Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or do the unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers. Open your eyes and look around. Open your eyes. Do you see the very things that you read about coming true? Don't you realize the moments are near? Correct yourself in your affairs. He has made it crystal clear. These are the signs of the time. Assalamu alaikum. Sunnah followers, new class, stay tuned. Signs of the times. You will make it through. The fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulallah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Aqidah class for tonight. And we are studying from the book entitled Diluting Wala Wal Bara. Diluting Wala Wal Bara. This book is written by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid, who you see right there. I use the pictures of the brothers' books that I use because, and I use my picture too, because you have, especially in this day, the day of the Ruwaybida, you know, you have the right to know who you are getting your knowledge of Islam from. And this is important. Just to let everybody know, tonight at 9 p.m. will be the premiere of my series on the signs of the last hour. And we're going to talk about all the signs of the last hour as told to us by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in detail and directly from the authentic sources. And I'm going to break down the meaning of those hadiths as I can do because I'm qualified to. Okay? And you're going to see that all the signs that were minor and the beginning of the greater are here. And inshallah, hopefully it will penetrate your heart, cause you to do what we're doing here. And this is what I've been teaching in this class. Hold yourself accountable. As Muslims, we all have to hold ourselves accountable for what we say out of our mouths and for what we do with our actions. Okay, we have to seek the proper knowledge, the proper understanding of Islam, and that's the problem. You know, I demonstrated that yesterday. This class I'm doing today, I was supposed to have this yesterday, but I ended up answering a couple of the young college girls. Oh, yeah. That's one of the signs, too. Women, Women will take on the responsibility of men and vice versa. One of the signs of the last hour, and it's already happening. Women will become over the affairs of man. What's the source? Sahih Muslim. I'm going to break all that stuff down to you guys in that class. So make sure you guys are here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight for my series. And everything that I present to you is taken directly from the authentic hadiths, not a fatwa from some Ruway Bida. Okay, but anyway, getting back to that, yesterday I was supposed to do this topic I'm getting ready to do right now on how when we hold ourselves accountable, okay, we're supposed to also work on self-control and self-contentment. All right, but I ended up answering a question from a few of the college kids here, college women here. We got a lot of Muslim girls in college. 2 of my students were put in jail. Y'all saw it on TV? Did y'all see the CNN news a few days ago? 2 little Bantu girls from the Congo. Hello? Those 2 little, and out of all the people in that Muslim Student Association that was arrested, wasn't that many women with girls with hijab on. They put the camera on my 2 students who got hijabs on and their Congo abayas, with wrapped up in flags of Palestine, crying in the camera. Did y'all see it? They were crying. Oh yeah, because they took them to the pokey. They went to jail. That's what happens when you transgress the limits of Allah. That's what happens when you don't hold yourself accountable before you do an action and afterwards. And by the way, my 2 students got kicked out of their university. They can never go back to school again. They're done. They got felonies. By the way, it's a felony now. For you college kids, y'all better be careful protesting. You know, I'm a licensed paralegal, born in the USA. Oh yeah, Egyptian. Born in the USA and raised. I know the laws. Did y'all know they passed the laws about vandalism and trespassing in the college universities? How serious that stuff is? That's a felony. Oh yeah. My little 2 students got kicked out of school, made the CNN news, and they're banned. Their college days are done. So Papa getting ready to send them back to Congo. Bye-bye. At least he can send them back. But a lot of us are American and can't go nowhere. We stuck in jail with a record. Oh, yeah, they was on TV crying. Oh, yeah, you should have been crying. That's what happens, guys, when we transgress the limits of Allah. And that's one of the signs of the last hour. And this is why this class is so important, because if we hold ourselves accountable before we do an action and after we do an action, we wouldn't end up in predicaments like that. We'd weigh the situation out. We'd weigh the pros and the cons, and we'd see if we'd rationalize and determine if I'm transgressing Allah's limits or not. All right. And so yesterday here, I had 2 other college students. The women, you know, women want to be men. They asked me all kind of crazy questions yesterday. They didn't understand what public spectacle. And before I go into today's class, and we ain't going to make it to class, but who can tell me, does Islam forbid Muslim women from going outside the house? Who can answer that question? And don't say yes, no. Like the Prophet Muhammad said, if you can't explain your answer, you don't know. Can somebody answer the question? Does Islam forbid us Muslim women from leaving the home? You know, are we confined to the houses? Can anybody answer that? Come on, women. You are women. Go ahead.
In Islam, women are not confined from going outside. She may have her needs, like go outside to get groceries for her family, going outside, you know, to tend to things within her personal be in state, basically going in for her personal needs. As long as she doesn't go outside, make a fool of herself, go outside, make a spectacle of herself, prostituting herself, it's perfectly fine for her.
Can
as long as she's just
can you back up your answer with evidence?
As what? As far as
everything you say. Remember, we're going to talk about the signs of the last hour, the Ruwaybida. They talk about Islam all the time, but they just back it up.
Many of the female companions, they had careers that they were
No,
able
give
to
me
go
a
outside.
hadith from the Prophet to address whatever you say. Like you see, like if you say, the question was, are women confined to stay in the house? You said yes or no. What did you say? No?
I said no, they're not confined to
okay,
the house.
Then where's your evidence? Before you go off, y'all see how to answer? I'm trying to teach you guys how to not be amongst the Ruwaybida.
No, I understand. Just give me a moment. I'm just like kind of flustered. Hold on.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, but you guys can train yourselves to do it. I mean, it's kind of frustrating, but this is what happens. We're living in this day and era, like this book we're talking about, diluting well better. How to maintain my Muslim identity when I'm living in a non-faith-filled environment. I'm living amongst people who speak about the religion, but I don't know if what they're saying is true or not, because they don't support it with nothing from Allah, nothing from the Prophet. So we got to break that cycle, which the cycle, I'm here to let you guys know, the cycle will not be broken. It's going to get worse. But as the Prophet said, there'll always be a handful up until the very end. There will always be a handful. That's 5 people. There will always be a handful of people that will try to reinforce the true Islam and bring it back, reestablish it. You want to be of that handful of people. Y'all don't want to be of the majority of Ruwaybida. You want to be that handful of people who don't speak from their desires. So someone else, come on, sisters, this is easy. Does Islam tell us that because we're Muslim women, we can't leave the house?
No, we are allowed to leave the house, and the evidence is when the Prophet ﷺ's wives would leave their homes to go to the masjid.
Okay, that's examples.
Oh, okay.
Example, you put that in after you give the dalil. The evidence is a verse from the Quran or something that the Prophet Muhammad said. So what you sisters need to do is answer with what Allah said or the Prophet said first, like I do. Then go into examples. But y'all on the right path. Who can give me the dalil? Okay, let's see. This is Brother Keith. I got my people from Twitch here. Most of my young sisters and brothers from college are on Twitch. Brother Keith says women may not leave the home without permission, inshallah. Well, that's a good guess. But what about a permission from whom? Allah is the one that gives us the permission. But I want to know, answer the question, can I leave my house? Am I confined to the house? The answer is no. As Muslim women, we are not confined to a house. Nowhere does Allah say that because he created you to be a woman, you can never leave your house. However, what Islam forbids a Muslim woman from doing, y'all see how I answered it? There ain't no dalil that says you got to stay in the house. So why am I going to make up any? It's for the person that says I do have to stay in. I want y'all to remember that. The burden of evidence always falls on the person that says it's haram. So since you two sisters said it's not haram, you ain't got to give no evidence. But you got to explain why. Explain your answer more. No, there's no verse in the Quran, nor is there a hadith that says because I'm a female, I'm confined in my home. No, Allah is not oppressive like that. Allah didn't make mistakes in his creation. No. However, Islam gives us rules. This is what y'all should have said. You should have went on into talking, explaining it. Islam gives us rules and guidelines. Allah, he gives rules to mankind, male and female. He gives us guidelines to live by for our betterment. Men have rules. Men have guidelines that they must adhere to for their betterment. And being women, we have rules. We have guidelines that we must adhere to too. So no, Allah does not say because I'm female, I'm confined to the house. But Allah teaches us, commands us as Muslim women, number one, when we leave the house, we got to dress a certain way. This should have been y'all's answer. Since it ain't haram to leave, you go into what Allah says about our rules, about our guidelines. If I am going to leave my home, I have to dress a certain way. And now you bring the dalil. Whenever you say that I have to do something, or whenever you say that something is haram, you have to bring the evidence. Okay? Allah says if I leave my home, number one, I have to dress according to his laws, according to his rules. When I leave my house, I have to make sure that I have on an abaya, an overgarment to cover my body. That means nothing should be seen of my body except this. And y'all explain that. Now you give dalil. I said only thing that can be seen of me when I leave my house is this. Where's my evidence? Well, I'm going to give you what Aisha radiyallahu anha said, and what Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anha said, and what Ibn Umar said. They were the best of this nation. They were the original companions, and no one understands this deen better than them. Okay, and by the way, Sister Norto, I want you to log onto Twitch and take care of these. They don't know I got people. Get on there, Norto. Deal with Cowboy and deal with Keith. Go on Twitch, Norto, and deal with them. Because I got other kids on there trying to learn. They don't need that nonsense. Okay? So, Aisha and all the companions, except for Ibn Masud, said that when a woman leaves the house, everything of her must be covered except this, her face, her hands, and what naturally appears thereof. And what naturally appears thereof, Aisha and Ibn Umar and Ibn Abbas explain, is what can't help but be seen. When a woman raises her hand, you can't help but see this part of my arm. And also a woman can show her makeup and her jewelry. Whatever makeup, whatever jewelry she has on her face, her hands, and this can be seen. That's the dalil. And I don't care what the uneducated Muslims say, because most Muslims don't know the hadiths. So you don't argue with them. You done gave them the dalil. The true people of knowledge know that what you're saying is correct. Okay? You're dealing with ruwaybida like this who don't know the religion. So you're dealing with people like that. Don't argue because they'll hurt you. You gave them the dalil. Okay? So I can leave the house as long as I'm dressed in accordance to the laws of Allah. And Allah commands me as a Muslim woman to bring the verse, to draw your veils. Allah says that in the Quran, sisters. So you tell them that. Allah says, bring your veils over your bosom. Wear your khimar, your hijab long enough to cover your breast so you can't see my front. My abaya got the back cover. And also Allah says, when a woman, Muslim woman, leaves the home, and you have to speak. Speak loudly. Make your voice loud. Make your voice intimidating if you are a Muslim woman, because you don't know the evil like this. You don't know the evil that lurks in the heart of men. But when you talk like I am, you see how that person got scared. What did I do? I'm going to show you what you did. Bam. If I was a weak woman speaking softly, doing a Marilyn Monroe and like these other famous women speak, this man would challenge me. Okay? He gonna jump back and think, because I ain't the one. Intimidating. That should be the demeanor that every Muslim woman has when she leaves her home. Not only am I dressed the way Allah commanded me, my voice is strong and fierce. And when I walk with dignity, humility, and balance. I demand my respect. Muslim women don't look at the ground. Muslim women don't walk with their head down. We walk tall. We stand tall. Khadija, radiyallahu anha. This is where the examples come, sisters. Khadija, radiyallahu anha, was a woman of dignity. Salama was fierce. Okay, Aisha, radiyallahu anha. Why do everybody hate her to this day? Because she was a woman you wouldn't dare try to jump crump with. You see this intimidation I got going? They quiet now, ain't they? The Twitch channel has become quiet. The children are listening. Because I ain't the one, sisters. That's how you are supposed to be publicly. That's another one of the signs of the last hour. The truth will appear to be falsehood. A lot of you listen to me and look at me and think that I'm sick. No, I am the one woman. I'm the only woman on this internet, seriously, speaking in English, who's acting the way Allah commanded. Those other women y'all watching that's standing up at those conferences, first of all, they're making a public spectacle. They're the ones who are the sinners, not me. But that's another sign of the last hour. The truth will appear to be falsehood, and the falsehood y'all will think is the way it's supposed to be. Welcome to the real world of Islam. Okay, so I can leave the home as a Muslim woman. Y'all break it down and explain it like that. Okay? And also, not only am I supposed to dress the way Allah commanded me to dress, not only am I supposed to speak the way He commanded, not only should my demeanor be one of intimidation. This is how the female companions work. Okay? But also, when I do leave my house, I cannot make a public spectacle of myself. This is where you sisters couldn't get it yesterday. So now who can tell me, what does it mean to be a public spectacle? What does it mean when to be a public spectacle? Allah forbids that. Oh, you women who believe, do not make a public spectacle of yourselves as you used to do before Islam. That's what the verse of the Quran says. Oh, you women who believe, do not make a public spectacle of yourselves like you used to do before Islam. What's a public spectacle?
A public spectacle is going out in public, showing yourself, almost prostituting yourself to be seen, to be heard, needing to have attention drawn towards you, basically.
Okay, when you sisters use the word prostitute, you're going to have to break down the meaning, Because as you guys heard from Amina Fresno yesterday, a lot of people don't know what prostitute means. Prostitute has a bad meaning. It's considered a filthy word in English today, but it really has a meaning. So you sisters are going to have to remember that most people are uneducated. Most people think that when you say prostitute, you calling them that word that Fresno used, the H word, when you're not calling anybody that. It's just they don't know. So you need to break down the meaning. I use that word to get you sisters to understand, because y'all were so gone with not knowing what it means to be a public spectacle. So I want you sisters, somebody to explain what is a public spectacle, but use terms that won't be offensive to someone. Okay? What's meant by prostitute? If you're going to use that word, explain what you mean by it, because it takes on a different meaning today. English is a language that changes. So Allah says, oh, you women who believe, do not, when you go out the houses, when you leave your homes, do not make a public spectacle of yourselves like you used to do before Islam. And when you look at that whole verse, like you used to do, that's your explanation. Like you used to do, that applies to you women today. Like you used to do before you converted to Islam. Like you used to do. That should help you to explain what is a public spectacle. Anyone like to try it? Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to try it. Being a public spectacle would be going out of the home, smelling of perfume, not having your veil drawn across your bosom or anything like that, showing parts of your body. Also moving your body in seductive ways. Back then it said stamping your feet to draw attention to you. You know, did I already say speaking in soft voices?
Good job. Y'all see how she's breaking it down? Y'all see how she's breaking it down without memorizing what I told y'all yesterday? Remember, I have to break it down to get y'all to understand. Sometimes I have to come down to the gutter with some people, like Fresno. And then when I get to the gutter, Fresno took it to the H word. Oh my God. So, you know, we got to speak to the people on their level, but y'all see how Latifa explained that. Before Islam, how did you sisters dress? How did you sisters appear publicly? Before Islam, you were not modest. You didn't care about what type of clothing you wore. You didn't care if your clothing was tight. You didn't care if your clothing showed your body, showed your shape. Okay? You didn't care if your voice was strong and fierce. Okay? And also 9 times out of 10, when you left out the house, you wanted the attention of other people. So you would put on, makeup is not haram, but you would wear a lot of makeup. You'd put on a whole lot to attract the attention of people. And you'd spray on perfume so you could attract the smell of people. And you used to hang out in places where men gathered. Where does people like to go? Everybody likes to go to the mall. And what do? When you go to the mall, you get all dressed up. You get all dressed up in your tight jeans, your tight clothing, your makeup, or your perfume. Because you going to the mall, you don't know whose attention. You want to attract somebody's. Do y'all see? Y'all understand now? That's a public spectacle. A public spectacle is, like Latifa said, doing things that you used to do before Islam, or doing things to bring attention, unnecessary, unwarranted attention to yourself. And that's what prostitute means. You look up the meaning of the word prostitute. It means to bring or attract unwarranted attention to yourself. That's what the word prostitute means. But I don't want y'all to use that word, because you use it with the wrong person, they're going to pull out a gun and blow your head off like Fresno did. They're going to think you calling them that H word, because people just ain't got good sense today. All right? So try to use better language. All right? Y'all got it? So, you know, a Muslim woman can leave her home as long as she dresses the way Allah commanded, as long as she carries herself the way Allah commanded, and if she speaks, as long as she speaks the way Allah commanded. So that's the answer to that. Now, public spectacle. This is the prohibition for us as women. Nowhere does Allah say I'm stuck in the house. Nowhere does Allah say because I'm a woman I can't work. That's the next question. That was a question that one of the kids asked, the college girls. Well, Sister Laila, what kind of job can I get? And what should my major be? That's what she asked. Is that right, sister? What should my major be? You can get a job working, doing anything, as long as it doesn't compromise your Islamic identity. That's the class here. Well better. As long as it doesn't compromise your Islamic values. As long as the job doesn't require you to be a public spectacle. Okay, everybody got it? So when you're offered a job, you ask yourself, does it compromise my Muslim identity as a woman? Does this job entail me becoming a public spectacle? Does this job entail me compromising my Islamic values? Okay? A bookkeeper, an accountant. That's not making a public spectacle of myself. As long as I stay away from interest, doing the books for people who indulge in interest, I'm good. Accounting is a vast field. Bookkeeping is a vast field. I'll just stay away from the type of jobs that compromise my Islamic morals. And then we had the question from one of the young girls, a waitress. Can a Muslim woman work as a waitress in a restaurant? How would you sisters answer that? Let's try it again. Can you sisters work as a waitress in a non-Muslim restaurant? I'm gonna make it even easier.
There is no evidence saying you can't. However, you still need to think about the idea of putting yourself on display publicly, because a lot of times with waitressing, you need to smile a lot, you need to laugh to get tips. And in a lot of restaurants, they're gonna have you push alcohol and serve alcohol.
Forget that. We ain't talking about no alcohol. Stick with the topic. That's what you women do. Y'all done went from being a waitress to pushing alcohol. I ain't asking, can you be a dope dealer? I want to know, can I work in a non-Muslim restaurant as a waitress?
No, you cannot, because a lot of restaurants nowadays want you to wear the skimpy clothes. You're up in people's faces.
Wait a minute. I don't want to hear about restaurants nowadays, because nowadays ain't no different than yesterday, than the day of the prophet. Don't get into that. Stick to the question. There's enough about the lawful and the unlawful, and about the Allah done put all the rules and guidelines for women. I done went over rules and guidelines. Your answer should be based on, you should ask yourself, Number one, does this compromise my Islamic values? So you need to think about Islamic values. Does it compromise my Islamic morals as a Muslim woman? Think about that. Does this fall in public display? Your answers have to be based on La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, the religion of Islam, not the Ruwaybida's opinion. This is a simple question. I asked my granddaughters yesterday. Oh, yeah. My little 2 granddaughters that don't practice. Oh, yeah. They came over. And I asked them this question. I said, let me ask both of you idiots a question. Can y'all work as a waitress? They both gave me the right answer, and they told me why. I said, why come the Muslim girls on my website don't know that? And they do practice. Y'all are not practicing, and y'all know the answer. Shows how the world is. That's another one of the signs of the last hour. The people that don't practice Islam know the truth. The people that are practicing Islam don't know nothing. They just following the leader. It's another one of the signs. Who can answer this question? It's just a simple answer. Can a Muslim woman work in a non-Muslim restaurant as a waitress?
I say no.
I would say
I don't accept nobody's answer that is not broken down and explained. Y'all don't know. Y'all guessing. I want somebody to tell me.
No. I would say no, because as a waitress, you have to be able to get tips. You have to smile and lure the customers and use you have to act a certain way to be able to get the tips and to get the customer service that to satisfy the customer. So that would compromise my religion in the sense that I would be giggling with males or smiling with males that are not my mahram. And then that would put me in a gray area. So to avoid that gray area, it's best for me not to be a waitress. And so that's why.
That's a better answer. At least she kept it with, wait a minute, hold on. At least she kept it with Islam. Your answer should be based on what Allah said. What's lawful, what isn't lawful. That's what I couldn't get Amina Fresno to understand yesterday. Okay? Go ahead, Norto. Let's hear yours.
Well, for me, I would say, yes, she can be a worker at the restaurant as long as it's not compromising your deen.
I asked about a waitress.
Yeah, she can be a waitress at the restaurant as long as it's not compromising your deen, as long as you're dressed properly, and also like as long as you're not serving no alcohol. Also, I'm not done yet. Also, if you just like Sister Laila said that, you know how it'll compromise her deen because you as some waitresses they flirt and stuff. You can just be polite and still get tips and stuff. And not only that, during the time of the Prophet, there was a woman who was serving the Prophet and them. So why can't we not serve food to the people?
Y'all still don't get it. This is why Kareem Abu Zaid and these brothers are so rigid on you sisters in the West. Because it's like y'all don't have common sense. I'm not putting nobody down. Get them off the mic. And I want y'all to listen to me. Now I see why Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, Sheikh Adli, and those rigid brothers are like this with y'all. Because y'all, it's like growing up in the West, your Islamic identity is so messed up. It's so contained that y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. I mean, I can't believe the answers I'm getting. And my non-practicing granddaughters answered it just like me. I said, you idiots, I just popped both of them in the head. I said, y'all know the truth and ain't practicing when my students can't figure this out. This is a simple question that every Muslim girl should know. It's haram. It's haram. It's haram for a Muslim woman to work in a restaurant. Why come y'all don't see that? It ain't got nothing to do with to work as a waitress. It ain't got nothing to do with no alcohol. It ain't got nothing to do with no pork. Can I be a waitress? Were the women waitresses in the time of the Prophet, or did they serve food and keep it moving? Big difference. I don't want to talk about today ain't like then. Waitresses, they didn't have waitresses back in those days. Those women weren't walking around talking to men and taking your order and all that. That's not how it worked. The women, when you would come to my house, if the Prophet Muhammad was invited to your home, the women would serve him. That's my home. They were not in the streets serving nobody. What's wrong with y'all? This is why Kareem and them are strict on y'all women, because y'all don't have the common sense. Y'all can't recognize good from evil, so they tell y'all just stay home. Since you don't have the intelligence to figure out if you can be a waitress, don't leave your house. Now I see why they do this to y'all. Did you really think you could be a waitress, Norto? You can get a job at Red Lobster, Norto. You really believe that you can go work at any cafe or restaurant?
I wouldn't be a waitress.
No, you gave that. Your answer was you can do it. You really think it's lawful in Islam for a Muslim girl to go work at Red Lobster or any cafe or restaurant? You believe that for real? First of all, they wouldn't hire you unless you change your dress. But even if they did, do you believe that you could do that? Okay, sisters, y'all got to get it together. But that's why these men are rigid on y'all, because y'all don't have the common sense.
I understand it now.
No, you don't. If you do, tell me why. Tell me why you can't do it.
I just heard what you said.
No. Explain it. You don't understand. And my Norto is one of my better students. Been Muslim all her life. And she can't, I don't know if a Muslim girl could be a waitress. Would you let your daughter be a waitress at Red Lobster? You let your daughter go to wait tables? This is a lawful job for a Muslim woman? Do y'all really believe that? What does polite entail? Let's break it down, because that's what Fresno couldn't understand. And Norto, you think so much like Fresno, it ain't funny. It's weird. I think y'all do come from the same tribe. The word being polite to customers. Can somebody define what does it entail to be polite to my customers? What must I do? Do I just take the food and sit it down and say, here's your food, and walk away? Is that being polite to your customer for Norto? You gonna get thrown out on your ugly face. They gonna tell you take your crooked, mean, evil behind and keep it moving. Can I just take the food and sit it down without no talk at all? Is that being polite? Is that the Western's definition of politeness for a waitress? To take the food and sit it down and not look at you, not give eye contact, to not ask how do you like it? Is that the etiquette for the West? Is that being polite under the Western, the non-Muslim standards? Is it, Norto? No, ain't nobody they will fire you for not giving eye contact to your customers. What does Allah say about eye contact? What does Allah say about women giving eye contact unnecessarily to men? It's going to also entail you coming back as a waitress. I don't know what job Fresno had, but as a waitress, you got to come back and ask, is there anything else you need? Are you okay? You have to check on the customer every so many minutes. If you don't do that, they throwing your ugly butt out the door. So do y'all really think, as Muslim women, that you can work as a waitress? That's why Kareem Abu Zaid, that's why Sheikh Atlee, that's why those brothers are rigid. Because in the Arabic countries, the women know better. You ain't gonna find no Arabic woman lowering herself for that type of job anyway, because they know that it falls in the category of selling yourself. That's the word I'm gonna use today. Exactly, Sakina. You have to make small talk too. What does Allah say about women and men making small talk with each other? To work as a waitress, you have to sell yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to get money. Waitresses don't make no money. They make less than minimum wage anyway. They survive off of tips. And in order to get a tip, you have to sell yourself. What does Islam say about a Muslim woman selling herself? Y'all get it now? You understand now, Norto?
You have to flirt too, Sister Laila.
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
Flirting, is
All
laughing, is laughing at their jokes. It's
all of that.
Are you okay? All of this.
It's prostituting yourself. It's
Flirting.
selling yourself. You got to sell your personality, sell your standards to get that money, to get that $20 tip. That's the oldest profession in the world. That is the oldest profession in the world under anyone's standards. But you American Muslim women think y'all can get jobs doing that.
We don't have any dignity when we sell ourselves like that.
That's why
You're gonna hold us in a high standard.
That's why y'all got men like Sheikh Kareem and Sheikh Atlee and them telling y'all they can't figure it out. Just stay in your house. That's why they tell y'all stay home and lock the door, because you can't think. So no Muslim woman anywhere on this planet can be a waitress. And that's because it entails selling yourself. It violates everything that Allah commanded us to do. We cannot soften our voices. If I was in a restaurant and said, "Can I take your order?" Well, they tell me you can take my order by getting the heck up out of here. What restaurant gonna hire a Muslim woman who's obeying Allah in how we dress and how we speak? We have to maintain intimidation publicly. Do you need anything else? Who's gonna hire me? Excuse me, I don't want to hear the small chat. I could care less about your wife and your children leaving you. Give me your order. Who's gonna hire us? But that's the way we're supposed to be publicly. We're supposed to be intimidating, of dignity, humility, no small talk. What do I care about your small talk? Why? I can't understand how you sisters, you young women, could not figure that out. I'm gonna tell y'all now. Let me learn that any of my students is working at a restaurant. Y'all got some issues. Sad. So, public spectacle. I want you young girls to and old women, because Fresno is an old woman and couldn't understand why she can't be a waitress. I want you women to figure it out. Y'all gonna have to start doing evaluation, self-reflection, self-evaluation. Think everything out. Ask yourself, what does this type of job entail? What are the duties? Does smiling, being polite under their standards, making small talk, checking on them, does this stuff violate my Islamic principles? Yes, it does. So this ain't the type of job I would get. Plus, it don't even pay no money anyway. Let me keep it moving. I'll go be a door dasher. Now, can a Muslim woman door dash? Let's ask that question. Can I Instacart and can I door dash? What do y'all think about that one? Can a Muslim woman be Instacart? Can a Muslim woman door dash?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
I need more.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you more. It doesn't.
And what's
It
wrong with
doesn't-
your mother, Mina? You better talk
What
to your
happened?
mother. She put that crap in Norto's head, thinking she could be a waitress. Can you believe that? Messing up these kids. Go ahead.
It doesn't violate Islamic our morals, our values, or anything like that. It's not stopping the way we dress. It doesn't contradict any of that, and it's not making a public spectacle of yourself because you're just going from point A to point B, and sometimes you don't even have to come in contact with them at all. Just put it in front of their door and leave.
Exactly. Door dashing. Instacarting. By the way, I don't know where y'all live, but most of the Muslims where I live are doing it. Y'all see, I Instacart and DoorDash more than everybody, and most of my people are Muslim women and Muslim men. It's a good way to make money because you're not compromising none of your Islamic ethics. Okay, as a Muslim woman, you dress the part. You got your kids with you too. Most of the women got their kids with them, their husbands with them, grandpa too. I had one sister bring my food. My grandfather here, he want to meet you. He want to just give you salams. You know, that's a good profession. And it pays a lot of money. You can make as much as you want depending on how often you work. Okay? You ain't even got to have contact with the customer half the time. Or if you do, you just, here's your food and keep it moving. So again, guys, it's not hard to figure out what we can and can't do as Muslim women. We can do anything as long as it doesn't compromise our Islamic values and our Islamic laws. Do you women understand that? But the thing is, most of you don't know the Islamic laws. Most of you don't know the guidelines for women. And that's sad. Y'all got to learn the Islamic guidelines for women. And that's what you weigh your career on. I was a paralegal. I was a union steward. And I worked for the Department of Developmental Disabilities. None of that compromised my ethics as a Muslim woman. None of that compromised my Islamic identity. When I speak, oh yeah, I had to do public speeches sometimes. But my voice was always like this. And by the way, my speeches were always behind the computer, even at the job. You know me. My job used to call me Miss Electricity. My coworkers called me Miss Electricity because they said Laila ain't gonna never be in person. She gonna be on the screen, on the computer. And I'd be on the screen. Yes, this is what we want done this time. This is what we want done that time. I'm always sitting down talking and always dressed like this when I was at the job giving out my orders as a unions person. If I had to do arbitration and mediation, no problem. I'd come into the arbitration room dressed in my abaya and dressed in my kimar. I'd sit down and say, I present my case. And I was nervous. My voice strong, intimidating, extremely intimidating. We ain't backing down. Either you give him back his job or we will have an informational picket. We will picket and let the public know what you're doing to the employees here. I was always intimidating. So that my job didn't compromise any of my Islamic ethics, any of my Islamic morals. Working with the jinn, that was the best part. Didn't compromise anything. I come in, tuck my hijab like this in my body and say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Get back in that room. And they'd run. So that's what you do, sisters. Y'all think about, as long as it doesn't compromise your ethics, Islamic ethics, your Islamic identity, the world is yours as a career. Islam doesn't oppress women. The Prophet's wives all worked. Every one of his wives worked. Can anybody remember what type of work did Sauda do? What type of work did Zainab do? What type of work did Salama do? Can y'all remember? They all did the same thing. What did they do to earn extra money? Can anybody remember what was the work profession that the Prophet's wives, other than Khadijah, did to earn money? I did the series of the heroines of Islam. Do y'all remember?
Yeah, they used to make baskets and things with the leather and all that stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah.
The Prophet's wives used to work from home. They would make baskets and weave out of leather, and they would give it to their servants to take to the market and sell for them. The Prophet's wives didn't go to the market to sell, not because it was haram, but remember, they were in war times. They were in war. The Prophet's wives could have been kidnapped. So they didn't go out unnecessarily, because like Allah says in the Quran, you are not like other women. You, the wives of the Prophet, are not like other women. They had even more restrictions on them, because if they were out in the marketplace selling, somebody could kidnap them and hold them ransom. So they didn't go out in the marketplace, but they would make their stuff at home and give it to their servants, who would go out and sell for them. Now, Aisha, radiallahu anha, was a little different. She was a nurse. She was trained, and by the way, from yesterday's lecture, I did put the story of the woman who was one of the first female doctors of the Muslims. Her story is on yesterday's lecture. Y'all go listen to her. She was the physician. She was the doctor who treated the men. Okay? She was the one that trained Aisha to be a nurse. Also, Safiya, radiallahu anha, was trained as a nurse too. Maymuna, radiallahu anha, was trained as a nurse, and she was a warrior. Hani was trained as a nurse too. All by the woman whose lecture I got posted on that video from yesterday. So they would go out on the battlefield to take care of the sick. But Maymuna, Safiya, Salama, they would go on the battlefield as warriors, because they were all trained to fight. They would fight. Okay? So you look at the female companions, the world is ours. As long as we are not putting ourselves on public display as a spectacle. If it's fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah, it's okay. A lot of people say, well, Sister Laila, isn't that being a spectacle? Fighting on the battlefield? Isn't that being a public spectacle? Being a nurse? No. The difference is this is done as a struggle in the way of Allah. I'm struggling for Allah as a nurse. We need nurses. We need female doctors. We need warriors. And a warrior has no gender in Islam. Okay? So that's fi sabilillah. That's done for the sake of Allah, to struggle in his way. Also a daya. After the Prophet died, Aisha retired to being nothing but a teacher of Islam, a daya, a caller to Islam. That's fi sabilillah too. But there's conditions. Sit behind your screen like I'm doing. Make sure you're dressed the way Allah commands us to dress like I am. And make sure that voice is loud, intimidating. And you can handle the renegades that come into your stream like I handled those other ones. Okay? Because this is jihad. Dawah is jihad. This is fi sabilillah. Everybody understand that? All right? So, but that's the thing. You sisters have to know, the lawful and the unlawful, and know what your rules are as a woman. And then you wouldn't make these mistakes. Any questions on that? Is that better for you women? Did I break it down a little easier for you today? Huh?
Yes. Sister Laila, I have a question. What about like a woman in Congress or a student council?
That's
We
a
could
good
still be.
What do y'all think about a woman being a congresswoman? That's a good one. I was going to say that one for tomorrow. But what do y'all think? Remember, we can't become a public spectacle. First of all, ask yourself, is being a woman of authority like that, is that a public spectacle?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then, so that's the first thing. And remember, this is America. Go ahead. This is not an Islamic country. This is not a faith-filled environment. What would you say? Can a Muslim woman be a congresswoman? Can she be a politician?
I say no, because it's contradicting everything and what we stand for, our Islamic values, our morals, because you have to make decisions on things that contradict us all the way around.
What do y'all think about her answer? Y'all agree with her answer? She said, living in America, no. Because it contradicts everything. What do y'all? Yeah, she's correct. So now y'all see why I get mad when I see y'all posting up that Somali lady. What's her name? Y'all know. The one that's messed up like Naruto. Naruto thinks she can be a waitress. Well, this woman thinks she can be a politician. She don't even wear the hijab. She wears a turban like a man. Sitting up giving lectures, standing up in front of a bunch of people. How is she going to make a difference? Number one, you a woman. Number two, you black. Number three, you Muslim. What makes you think that you're going to make a difference in America? When you got 3 strikes against you, you a female, you black, and you Muslim. You better take your butt back to Somali and help the poor. Okay? Yeah, certain careers that we shouldn't do at all. Certain careers are for men anyway. But what about this? Let's say I lived in Egypt and I'm a judge. I am an Islamic jurist. Is that a legal profession for a Muslim woman to be a judge in Egypt, say, for example?
Yes, it is.
What's the difference between being a politician in Egypt and being a politician in America? What's the difference?
The politician in Egypt is the jurisdiction of can go on the morals of Allah, because you're helping the people as far as in justice, everything we stand for. Those two are the difference: justice, compassion, and all the things that we stand for. And you're sitting down. You're not making a public spectacle and yourself. You're not showing. Well, let me just say, no. Yes, you can, and that's the reason. I don't want to go too far into it.
Plus, they deal with women's issues mostly. They got that little bit of separation too. Do y'all think they got them all mixed up? No. I got a cousin. One of my cousins, my DNA cousin, she's a Sadat. She lives in, and I was shocked when she messaged me on that Ancestry. She's in Iran. You know, one of my cousins, she's a third cousin to me. She is an Islamic jurist on the council of something in Iran. And I asked her, what do you do there? She said, Layla, I'm a politician. She said, but I handle all women's issues. I said, what? She said, I am an Islamic jurist, but I handle all women issues. And I asked her, are you Shiite? She said, no, I'm not Shiite. She said, but there's a lot of Shiites on that council. She said, so you can imagine how I'm fighting. She said, but yeah, this is different. She said, I'm an Islamic jurist and I deal with all female issues and weigh them against the Quran and the Sunnah and all of that. She said, I speak out for women's issues. I speak out for women's rights. She looks just like me. She's she's Arabic, a Sadat, but she's living in Iran doing that. She said she was born in Iran. I was surprised to see I got Sadats in Iran. Okay. So it's different. Muslim countries, they work differently. They're not America. Don't compare apples to oranges. You're comparing, like she told me, Layla, don't think of me as being like you guys are in America. She said, you're comparing apples to oranges. She said, but if you ever need me to help you with Islamic stuff, that's how I met her. And that she was the one that sent me a lot of the information that I use in this website comes from her. A lot of when I did the stories of the heroines of Islam, a lot of the stuff I got from my cousin, from her, because she speaks Arabic. And she would translate it to English for me and send it. Her and Sister Wafat. Wafat's another cousin. Wafat's in the Emirates. She's another Sadat that's in the Emirates. So thanks, and she's an Islamic studies teacher. You know, so in the Muslim world, it's different. You know, the women and can take on positions like that, but they're done Islamically, or they try to stick to some of the traditions of Islam with that. Aisha, radiallahu anha, was a jurist. Did y'all know that? Salama was an Islamic jurist. So was Aisha. That when Umar radiallahu anha became the caliph, he appointed all women issues to Aisha. She was the jurist for all women and family issues. So was Salama. So was Zainab, the Prophet's stepdaughter. So don't compare an Islamic country to a Western country. It's apples and oranges, like my cousin told me. Okay? So that's the criteria that you sisters use when choosing your careers and when leaving the house. You can leave the house if there's a need, such as going shopping, going to the doctor, picking up the kids, picking up your husband, going to the mosque, that type of stuff, going to the Eid. But if there is no need, stay home. And when you do leave the house, adhere to the guidelines of Islam in dress, behavior, and all of that. Are we clear, guys? Any other questions on that? Okay, let's get to today's class, because I'm going to do this class today because it goes hand in hand with this. What we're talking about now goes hand in hand with today's lecture. The lecture is short, so it's not going to be long. If we would take the time to do self-evaluation before we embark upon an action, we'd be able to implement self-control, and we'd be able to find contentment with things that we thought we wouldn't be able to have control over, or things to implement contentment with. Let me give you guys an example. Let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Hold on, I'm going to have to keep working with you sisters on this. But inshallah, you guys are going to get it together. I'm going to, inshallah, help you sisters to understand what your roles are as Muslim women, what you can and can't do. We're going to have to just keep working on it. I see why these brothers just tell y'all stay home, because it's kind of hard to get you to understand. If Norto couldn't get it, Fresno don't get it, nobody gets it. SubhanAllah. I'm about to work on that. All right, let's put this up here. This is the PowerPoint. This is the PowerPoint. I hope I got the right one. Yeah, this is it. Okay, inshallah, everybody can see this. And by the way, my little cousin's in here now. She said, good job. She going to bed. Good job. You going to bed? Good job. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, yeah. Good job. She going to bed. All right. Here we go, guys. Today we're going to be covering pages 196 to 198. And it's all about learning how to control our desires, learning how to not give in to our wants and desires. A lot of women, for example, engage upon careers. You know deep down inside you that you shouldn't be no waitress. You know you don't feel comfortable sitting there smiling and grinning and flirting with a bunch of men. But you couldn't control yourself. You can't find contentment in that which Allah made lawful. Because remember, guys, the human soul is criminal by nature. The human soul is attracted to what's dirty and what's bad for it. The human soul is attracted to flirting. The human soul wants to be seen, wants to be acknowledged, wants to be admired. So it's all about learning to find self-control and contentment with the things that Allah made good and clean for us, with the things Allah made lawful for us. And let's take a look at this. We're going to first talk about how to find self-control, how to teach myself to show self-control. Well, by doing self-reflection, you'll recognize what your strengths and weaknesses are. And by evaluating your actions and being honest with yourself, you can identify where you need to give extra work to. You'll be able to identify what your temptations are. You'll be able to identify what triggers you to go off, what triggers you to want to do things. So the way to train yourself to exhibit self-control is, first of all, identify what the triggers are. What is it that's making you want to be a waitress, for example? Why is this something that you want to do? Why is it that you want to be an airline stewardess? I got 3 young girls here who want to be airline stewardess. What is it that's making you want to do that? If you can identify the triggers that lead to these thoughts of weakness, these thoughts of doing things that's not good for us, then you'll be able to, work through it and put it in check. Well, the simple fact that you want to be an airline stewardess, I like to travel. You like to watch TV and read about places to go. You want to see the world. So that desire to travel is what's triggering you to want to be an airline steward. Okay? Why do you want to be a waitress? You like the attention. Deep down inside, you're insecure. Deep down inside, you lonely. You like hanging out at a restaurant. You like hanging out at a bar where there's a lot of people and a lot of noise, so you don't feel alone. So by recognizing the triggers, that's the first step in developing strategies to get over these desires or these wants that are not conducive to what Allah says they should be. Everybody understand that? So that's the first way to make yourself exhibit control over your desires and emotions. And then the second step is to develop something that will help you to cope with it. Once the triggers are identified, self-reflection will allow you to come up with mechanisms to help cope with it or handle whatever the challenging thing is. Okay, I want to be an airline steward because I want to travel. Okay, well, since it's haram, I can't put myself on display that way. But maybe I can come up with a plan where me and my sisters can try to take trips, once a year to places we've never been before. And we'll start off right here in America. It costs money to go to Sweden, but maybe I've never been to the West Coast. So maybe we can look and see what type of cheap one round trip flights we can take from here to LA, here to Florida, here to wherever. Okay? So find something that'll help you to cope with it. You want to be a waitress because you're lonely. You want to be around people. Well, I can't do that, but maybe I can go visit my family more. Maybe I can go to the masjid more. Maybe I can try to find some girls my age at the mosque who share a common interest with me that I can spend time with. Okay? For those of us who have problems with our emotions, anger, maybe you can develop techniques like deep breathing, pausing. You're dealing with stress like Laila does. Maybe you need to start exercising to release that stress. So by developing mechanisms we can use to help combat whatever the desire or whatever the want or whatever the bad emotion is, this is how we can control it. Identify the trigger, and then what can I do to take me away from that, to get that desire away? And then set boundaries by defining what is acceptable and what is not. By defining what's lawful, for example, and what's not. Now you can set boundaries. Why come I can't be a stewardess? Because number one, I'm making a public display of myself. I can't do that Islamically. Okay? Why can't I be a waitress? I'm making a public display of myself. It entails me being over friendly, making small chat, and doing other things that compromise my Islamic woman identity. So by defining what's acceptable and what is not, based on our Islamic principles, we can now create a framework for better self-control. So I'm not going to choose a job or a career like waitressing or airline stewardess. I'm going to look for another career that won't put me on public display, like nursing. I'm helping people. This is something pleasing to Allah. Okay? Allah speaks of the many blessings we get for taking care of sick. And I can touch men in these cases. A man who is sick, I can handle that. I can do that because that's not transgressing the limits of Allah. Okay? So the boundaries are there for me as a Muslim nurse, and they're easy for me to stick to. So again, set boundaries. Okay? And I always seek refuge in Allah. If you ever want to change the condition of yourself, remember, Allah tells us we'll never be able to change the condition of ourselves without His help. The simple fact that you took the first step to change yourself, call upon Allah for help, and He will send that guidance to you from that angel of your heart. Remember, that angel of the heart inspires you to do what's pleasing to Allah. So once you recognize and identify your triggers, once you've set the boundaries, once you see what's causing you to want to do these things, seek refuge in Allah. and then show patience. Self-reflection encourages us to practice patience and strength when facing challenges, when dealing with your desires, when dealing with your emotions, when dealing with the things you want but don't necessarily need. I want to work, but do you need to work? I'm talking to the women that are married who don't have to work. This is another problem we have. I got a lot of women here who are married. They don't have to work. Their husbands don't want them to work. No, you cannot disobey him with that. No, because he's the provider. He's the maintainer. You didn't put it in your marriage contract, so that's a done deal. You cannot work. There's no need for you to work because he's providing for you. Okay? So you're going to have to implement patience in that. Ask Allah to help you to accept that. Ask yourself, why do you feel the need to have to work? What is it that's making you want to work anyway? It's probably shaitan. Because your husband's meeting your needs. Maybe you trying to get away from the children. Find another way to get away from the children. Okay? Take a break. Have your husband watch them for a couple of hours while you go visit your parents. Okay? So patience is everything too. And again, that's why it's important for us to do self-reflection. I hope all of you women are doing this, because we talked about this during Ramadan. Every day before you go to bed, you should take the me time and sit there and reflect upon how you spent your day. Hold yourself accountable for everything that you said and did today. And as you're doing that, hold yourself accountable for your desires too, your wants too. With patience, you'll be able to improve your ability to control your emotions. With patience, you'll be able to improve your ability to manage yourself when faced with desires or wants that contradict Islam. Does everybody understand that? And by doing this, it leads to this right here. Once you develop that self-control over your emotions, your desires, and your wants, then you can evolve into being that Muslim that has self-contentment. I'm happy. I'm happy with the things I do have. Now, a lot of sisters ask me, Sister Laila, how can I make myself be content with the blessings Allah has given me? Number one, count your blessings. Through self-reflection, you'll be able to take stock of the big and small blessings in your life. Okay? Remember, guys, the human soul is attracted to what's bad for it. You're a stay-at-home wife. You got a husband that takes care of you. Why do you want to work? It looks like it's something grand. It's not. Allah didn't create women to work. I'm telling you, I worked for 36 years and hated it. Okay? We weren't created to go out and make the money like that. It's hard on us. Just like we need a break from our religious obligations. That's why Allah gave us a menses. Once you start working, there ain't no break. You can't be late. You got to hit that time clock. And if you ain't got no vacation time, you ain't got no sick time, you can't take off. So count the blessings that you don't have to be subjected to that. Count the blessings that you got a man that does all that for you, that all you have to worry about is taking care of the home, taking care of your children, and maintaining your deen. That's a blessing. Once we count the blessings, that's when we realize that perhaps I was focusing too much on things that I shouldn't have been focusing on. I should have been focusing on the reality that I'm one of the few women that ain't got to work, who do have a husband, who do have children, who do live in a nice house, who do have food to eat, who ain't got to worry about the bills getting paid. And my husband's protecting me. Women that have to work, we're not protected. So the first step in finding contentment within yourself is to count your blessings. And then after you count the blessings, recognize the mercy of Allah. Ponder the different ways Allah has shown you mercy. He's shown you mercy by blessing you with children when there's women out there that don't have kids, can't have them. He's shown you mercy by giving you a husband that works. Do you know how many Muslim women have to work because they married to a scrub? The scrubs are real, man. They're everywhere. So recognize Allah's mercy and become aware of his care and his guidance. And this will help you to find contentment within your life. And also, stay away from comparison. What does that mean? One of the mistakes that we make as Muslim women, we're always comparing ourselves to another woman. Instead of comparing your life to the sister over there, realize that comparison like that, that's a trap that Shaitan sets for us. Everybody's life journey is unique. Everybody's life journey is different. One man's blue can be another man's strife. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So stop comparing your life to that other sister's life. And instead, look at the good things that your life have and be content with it. And also, simplicity. It's the simple things in life that matter. So often as human beings, we allow our soul to cause us to not take notice of the simple things in life. We have to look at the simple things in life and derive joy from them. The smile that your children give you, that hug your husband gives you before he leaves to go to work, that kiss on your head your husband gives you when he comes home from work. Simplicity. Learn to find contentment in the simple things that we choose to take for granted. And also, again, tighten up on your actions of worship. Make sure you're fulfilling your obligations to Allah. You're doing your prayers. You're making up your days from Ramadan and all of that. Show gratitude to Allah. Thank Allah for giving you the ability to not only fulfill your obligations to your children, to your husband, but also to Him. Show gratitude to Him for having legs and feet and hands and eyes. Show gratitude to Him for having a partner in life that you can share the adversities with. Because a lot of women don't have a husband. They don't have a partner to share their hardships with. So as we can see, guys, through self-reflection, we're able to realize if we are happy, sad, if we're weak in our faith, or if we're strong in our faith. Also, by engaging in honest self-reflection, we can train ourselves to overcome our weaknesses, to overcome those trials and deal with our trials with dignity. Also, through self-reflection, we recognize what things we're doing that we shouldn't do, what wants we have, what desires we have that contradict our Islamic principles. And in turn, we can change them. So self-reflection is everything for us as Muslim women, guys. You sisters have to do more of it. Stop taking this religion for granted. Stop thinking that you know your deen when in reality, most of us don't even know the lawful and the unlawful. As we're seeing, most of us don't even know what our roles, are as Muslim women. Most of us don't know what our rights are. You'll realize that we got rights. You have the right to do anything as long as it doesn't compromise Allah's laws. And remember, all of Allah's laws are created for our betterment. Allah knows his creation better than we know ourselves. And Allah wants the best for us Muslim women. He doesn't want us to struggle. He doesn't want us to fail. If we learn the religion the correct way, we notice that. There's no need for feminism. Allah liberated us as women. Allah made us equal to men. Allah gave us rights. We just have to learn them. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Do you sisters get it?
Sister Laila.
Oh, assalamu alaikum, Dr. Jamali. I see why you brothers are so rigid. Not you, but a lot of the men are rigid with the women. The women really don't know what they don't know what their roles are, what's lawful for them, what isn't. I mean, thinking that they could be waitresses and stuff. I mean, they don't. I see why a lot of these brothers like Kareem and them are kind of rigid. So just stay home. You don't know, just stay home. I'm shocked.
Few brothers, not all of the brothers. All the brothers around me, mashallah, are very decent, their wives. You may be general for all men.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair, sister.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I just, as a daya, it's just, I'm just shocked that these sisters, they couldn't understand why they can't work as a waitress in a cafe restaurant. They couldn't get it. And I don't understand why they couldn't get that. I mean, it violates so much.
They know, but when they are in need, they have no choice, sister.
But there's other things they can do besides be a waitress, though. I'm talking about, you know, they can't know. It's haram. You can't be no waitress in no cafe restaurant.
I believe 100%. There's something, there is no other way. And he's in danger.
Oh, if it was no other way, yeah, but they got other ways. They could be door dashers. They could be Instacarters.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. But these sisters just want to say, I don't see nothing wrong with it. They just don't see nothing wrong with it. What you don't see anything wrong with being a waitress? You don't see anything wrong with flirting with men? No. They say they don't see nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with flirting. It's okay. You don't see nothing wrong with having small chat that's not necessary with men. They don't see nothing wrong. That's the West for you. That's what happens when you live in the West. You compromise your Muslim morals.
In Gaza, my city, only men working.
Yeah.
And sisters raising heroes.
Yeah.
The sisters, the mothers, always bringing heroes to the city.
Yeah, that's
and a lot of sisters here. Whoever go to the restaurant and doing that, she understands, but she feels herself. You know, don't forget the shaitan. Shayateen ends the human beings. Shayateen worse than shayateen we cannot see. Right?
Yeah.
Those sisters, all the brothers actually, they are all human beings around them. And that is the scary part with the shaitan. You trust the person and he's a shaitan, as you didn't know. May Allah guide our sister. May Allah protect our sisters. All of us. I mean,
while you here, Sheikh, here's a question that this brother has for you. Sister has. She says, my husband says I cannot use dishwasher. Wait a minute. Her husband's telling her that she cannot use the dishwasher to clean the dishes. He wants her to use her hands only. he told her using a dishwasher is lazy. She said, do I have to obey him and wash the dishes by hand, or can I use my dishwasher? This is pathetic.
I think her husband wants to be a master and she wants to be a slave. You know, my wife here, I forced her to go to use the dishwasher. Me and her, we wash the dishes. I said, no. I said, no, you have to. You know why? Because I was care about her hands.
Sister Jackson, your husband's crazy. I'm just gonna tell you. You know, there's nothing wrong with using a dishwasher. Like she said, your husband must be he got a problem. And if he's got a problem, they got medicine for that. You know, but no, it's not haram for you to use a dishwasher. And you tell him, why would he make it life hard for you when Allah says make it easy?
Ustadah Laila, the woman in the house, she don't have to wash anything. In fact, the man supposed to have a maid, somebody working for her. She's not no job for a sister to cook, to clean, to do anything in the house. Only to please her husband physically, nothing else. She have no right for him, Islamically, I'm talking about Islamically, and let's speak with me. Islamically, any woman, if she don't want to clean the house, I need somebody to clean the house. I need somebody to wash the dishes. I need somebody to clean my underwear. Yes, she have right to do that. Islamically, absolutely yes. But some men, she want to be his wife to be a slave, nothing.
You hear what he's saying? And tell your husband, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to help his wives with the cleaning. He used to help his wives with the house when he was home with them. So if he wants you to wash the dishes, tell him he wash them. If he don't want you to use a dishwasher, he wash them because you're using a dishwasher.
No, it's not her job to wash the dishes.
You hear that?
To bring some to wash it, not his wife.
Yeah, you hear that, Sister Jackson? So tell him that. That's his job. That ain't your job to wash him.
May Allah guide her husband. Guide us, all of us, sister.
And by the way, brothers and sisters, I want y'all to remember, I've talked about this. It is not your job to submit to a man. It is not your job to worship a man. We only submit and worship Allah. That's it. Okay? And when Allah speaks about pleasing your husband, He's talking about pleasing your husband in the things Allah commanded you to please him in. It's your job to please him in sex. It's your job to please him by guarding what he would have you guard. It's your job to please him by taking care of the children. But that other stuff is it. Everything else we do for Allah. Allah says he is not in need of any deed that you do for him and someone else. So as Muslim women, we live our lives doing what Allah commanded us to do, submitting to him. And by doing that, Allah says he will cause whoever needs to love you to love you. You understand that? So this is a misconception. We don't live our lives pleasing our husband. We live our lives pleasing Allah because Allah doesn't even accept a deed unless it's done for him. And pleasing your husband is only in the things Allah commands you to please him in. Dishwashing doesn't fall in that. So you tell him, look, Aki, Allah made the deen easy for us. I have a dishwasher. This is a blessing from Allah. I'm going to take advantage of the blessings that Allah has given me, and I'm using it. If you don't like the dishwasher, then you wash the dishes yourself, and you keep it moving. It's just that simple.
I'm afraid he's a stubborn male, stubborn like many people will do something bad, divorce, or like this. May Allah protect our relationship.
Yeah. So understand that, women, you know, we don't sit around, you know, kissing no man's behind. And we don't prostrate to no man. And we don't lick pus. And we don't, he's not no slut, no master over us. Just like Aisha, radiallahu anha, when Allah sent down the verses of the Quran proving her innocent of the slander against her, her father said, thank the prophet. She looked at him and said, why should I thank him? He didn't exonerate me. She said, Allah did. And I will go and make 2 rakats and thank Allah. So I'm telling you, sisters, no, we don't worship no one but Allah. So there's a limit. This is a misconception that the West, and by the way, the hadith about marriage being half your deen, brother Drizzy, does not mean that just because you marry and having sex, Allah has given you half the knowledge of Islam. That is ignorance. That is not what that hadith means. That hadith means that since you're married, you don't have to worry about sex out of wedlock. Now you can focus on the tongue, which is the other reason why most of us are being held, which is something you are having a hard time controlling, Drizzy, your tongue. Okay? I'm the teacher in this website. Hello, not you little YouTubies. And I got a lot of new shahadas here. I don't need y'all to put your misconstrued interpretation of Islam on this screen to confuse them. Because that's why we have a high apostasy rate of Muslim women, because of brothers like you who don't know this deen and are so stupid you think the hadith about marriage being 50% means because I'm having sex, now I got 50% of the knowledge of the religion. How stupid. So there's your answer, Miss Jackson. You tell your husband, no, you will use the dishwasher. If he wants the dishes to be washed, he can wash them himself. You only obey him in the things Allah commanded you to obey him in. That's it. And Allah knows best. Comments? Y'all see why you women got to be strong and fierce. Drizzy, you could unblock him. I want to see what he got to say. Okay, that's the end of it. Don't block him. I want to hear what he got to say. Brothers like that, the reason why the women are apostating and don't even know why they can't be a waitress. All right, let's see. So what is this? My worry about my fast and prayer. Oh God, Allah, this is what I'm saying. Where does Allah say that he doesn't accept your prayers nor your fast because your husband don't want you to wash the dishes? Where does Allah say that, Miss Jackson? That's not Islam. You don't have to worry about Allah accepting your prayers. Your prayers and your fast is not indicative of your husband being angry with you. That is not Islam either. Your deeds are done for Allah. They're not done for your husband. You understand? So your deeds, your prayers, and your fast ain't got nothing to do with your husband wanting you to wash dishes by hand. Okay? That's disgusting. All right? I just got a job at Walmart. Okay, here's another one, sisters. I just got a job at Walmart as a personal shopper. It never crossed my mind that I may have an alcohol order. Sister Nicola, if you are a Instacart shopper, you can turn down a job. That's the best job for any Muslim because they show you the items. If the items entail alcohol or pork, you just pass it to the next shopper. See how easy that is? Who said that because you a shopper, you have to do it? You'd say that this order, I'm going to pass to the next person because I can't do it. So what are you talking about? Again, the religion is easy, sisters. It's not hard. Okay, well, Sister Nicola, I don't know what you're talking about, but if that's the case, quit that job and become an Instacart person. Become an Instacart or DoorDasher. Because a DoorDasher and an Instacarter can turn down something if it's pork. They can turn down the alcohol. Like I said, most of Muslim women and men over here where I live, they work as DoorDashers, even my granddaughter. You can turn down. Okay? Or do the best you can do, Nicole. Then just do the best you can do, Nicole. Allah doesn't hold you accountable for what you can't do. So if that's the only type of job you can get, then you do what you got to do. All right? But even personal shoppers, I know, they turn it over to somebody else. One of my granddaughter was a personal shopper. All she did was turn it over to somebody else. She take the next order. Plus, they knew that she don't do pork and alcohol. They wouldn't even assign it to her. Jayla, my granddaughter Jayla, she was a Walmart shopper. She said that they knew not to give her the orders that have pork and alcohol. All you do is tell them that. They won't give it to you. The religion is easy. Yeah. All right. So, Miss Jackson, do you understand? So, no, your husband can't make life hard on you. Oppression. I want you sisters to understand oppression is haram. We can't go around oppressing people. Your husband wants you to make life hard for you? No, that's not how Islam works. We don't obey our husbands and that type of stuff. We only obey them in what Allah commands us to. You don't obey him in that. Just like if he told you to jump off the roof, you don't obey him in that either. Just like if he told you to go out and do something haram, you don't obey him in that either. You only obey him in the things Allah commanded, and that's not one of them. Do you understand? Yeah. Yeah. Well, Sister Nicola, don't worry about that. Just let them know that you don't handle alcohol, nor do you handle pork, and they won't even assign that to you, because that's what my granddaughter was. Yeah. They work with people. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to log out for right now. My class on the signs of the last hour will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure everybody is here. And for the new people that come in, I just want y'all to understand that when I am teaching, or any of the teachers are teaching, we don't need the peanut gallery, because all of us are qualified. I'm an old woman. I'm 63 years old. I've been giving dawah for over 50 years. I've studied from the best scholars. I don't need no help here. I know my deen. And I'm not going to sit here and give anybody the wrong information. Everything I say is backed up with Quran and Hadith. So when y'all come here, we don't need the peanut gallery comments, because what I'm trying to do is make a difference in these new shahadas' lives. You people are the reason why they apostate, because you don't know the deen and you steering them wrong. All right? Okay. All right. Yeah. Don't worry about it, Miss Jackson. You know, that's his problem. Tell me he's going to have to deal with his self. If he wants to wash him, he wash him himself. But you use the dishwasher. You know, slavery is against, women are not slaves. Okay? And we don't worship no man. We worship Allah. We don't submit to no man. We submit to Allah. Allah says, submit to me. He does not say submit to your husband. What kind of garbage is that? Y'all getting ready to bring out the warrior in Layla. All right. Okay. So I'll be back at 9. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.